Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. President Andrzej Duda said on Monday that Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki will be given the first shot at forming a government after his Nationalist Law and Justice Party won last month's election. A seemingly impossible task as it lacks a majority in Parliament. An alliance of pro-European Union opposition parties won a majority in the 15th of October ballot. But President Andrzej Duda had said before the election he would give the party with the largest number of seats a first chance to form a government. Law and Justice, in power since 2015, was the largest party following the election, but lost its majority. With all other parties having ruled out forming a coalition with it, the party looks unlikely to be able to govern. After a calm analysis and consultations, I decided to entrust the mission of forming a government to Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki. Therefore, I have decided to continue a good parliamentary tradition according to which the winning party is the first one to be given a chance to create a government, just as I promised during the election campaign, and as it has always been since the current Polish constitution was adopted. It is the constitution that precisely states the next steps of appointing a government. If the representative of Law and Justice fails to form a government, then the next step will be up to the Sejm, the lower house of the Polish Parliament, to choose the next candidate for the Prime Minister's office, and I will immediately appoint him. All the constitutional rules and terms will be followed. If Morawiecki is unable to win a vote of confidence in Parliament, the Chamber would then appoint another Prime Minister. This would likely to be former European Council President Donald Tusk, the mainstream opposition party's choice for Prime Minister. Speaking to German broadcaster Deutschlandfunk, the president of the state of Brandenburg, Dietmar Woidke, suggested that German border checks should be carried out inside Polish borders. Bartosz Grodecki, Polish Deputy Interior Minister, said that this was out of the question. Due to migration pressure, the German Federal Police have been conducting border controls since mid-October. The checks are carried out directly at former border crossings, but within German territory, sometimes a few kilometres from the border with Poland, causing traffic jams of many kilometres on both sides of the border. According to Dietmar Woidke, president of the state of Brandenburg, which surrounds Berlin, a better option would be for such inspections to be carried out by German services on Polish territory. What needs to be done urgently is to have the possibility of carrying out these checks already on Polish territory and move them away from the border, and with it the inconvenience associated with such checks suffered by the border region, Woidke told German broadcaster Deutschlandfunk. Reacting to Woidke's words, Bartosz Grodecki, a deputy interior minister, said on Tuesday that such a solution has not been the subject of any discussions or arrangements with the German side. Moreover, for many reasons, including legal ones, it is completely out of the question, he added. In his opinion, border controls always slow down traffic, and potentially carrying them out on Polish territory would only move queues away from the border crossings, not eliminate them. This is impossible. If Germans are bothered by queues near crossings, they may as well conduct inspections on their own territory, Grodecki said. There is no legal basis on which the Germans could control entry into their territory on the Polish side, he added. The German government has introduced more checks on its border with Poland and the Czech Republic after experiencing an increased inflow of migrants. Meanwhile, Chancellor Olaf Scholz met the head of Germany's 16 states to implement tougher measures aimed at reducing the number of asylum seekers. Authorities are set to save around €1 billion by cutting the benefits for asylum seekers, for example by doubling the amount of time until they are eligible to receive full social benefits. It is our goal that asylum requests and the hearings of the people seeking protection take place at the initial reception centre. For regular procedures, we want to see a decision by the Federal Office of Migration and Refugees within around 6 months, and first instance decisions by administrative courts should also happen during that time if someone sues. I don't want to use big words, but I would like to say that I believe this is a historic moment as we sit here. In the light of an unquestionably huge challenge with very large numbers of migrants and irregular migration, we have managed for all levels of the state to closely cooperate, which is necessary. People expect this of us. In recent weeks, Scholz's government has agreed measures to make it easier to deport migrants and make the country a less attractive destination in the first place, in stark contrast to Berlin's perceived open-door policy under former Chancellor Angela Merkel. 1 month after the deadly attack of Hamas that killed 1,400 people in Israel, the war rages on. According to Major General Yaron Finkelman of the Israeli Defense Force, the Israeli troops are operating in the heart of Gaza City for the first time in decades. Commanding officer of the Southern Command, Major General Yaron Finkelman, said he had just returned from the battlefield in Gaza City. Israeli forces have given civilians still trapped inside the freshly encircled Gaza City a 4-hour window to leave. During these hours too, we are fighting the most significant centre of the Gaza Strip. This is where I have just returned from now. For the first time in decades, Israeli Defense Forces are fighting in the heart of Gaza City, at the heart of terrorism. This is a complex and difficult war, and to my sorrow, it also comes at a price. In some of the first direct comments on Israel's plans for the future of Gaza after the war, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Tuesday that Israel would take over responsibility for the territory's security once it defeats the militants.
Well, there will be no ceasefire, general ceasefire in Gaza without the release of our hostages. As far as tactical little pauses, an hour here, an hour there, we've had them before. I suppose we'll check the circumstances in order to enable goods, humanitarian goods to come in, or our hostages, individual hostages to leave. But I don't think there's going to be a general ceasefire. It's not that I don't think. I think it will hamper the war effort. It'll hamper our effort to get our hostages out, because the only thing that works on these criminals in Hamas is the military pressure that we're exerting.
President Biden has said that it would be a mistake for Israel to occupy Gaza. Who should govern Gaza when this is over?
Those who don't want to continue the way of Hamas. It certainly is not. I think Israel will, for an indefinite period, will have the overall security responsibility, because we've seen what happens when we don't have it. When we don't have that security responsibility, what we have is the eruption of Hamas terror on a scale that we couldn't imagine.
War began on the 7th of October when Hamas fighters burst across the fence enclosing Gaza and killed 1,400 Israelis, mostly civilians, and abducted more than 200, according to Israeli tallies. Since then, Israel has unrelentingly bombarded Hamas around Gaza, killing more than 10,000 people, around 40% of them children, according to tallies by health officials in Gaza. Portuguese Prime Minister Antonio Costa resigned on Tuesday after his government was involved in a widespread corruption probe. The prosecutor is alleging alleged malfeasance, corruption of elected officials, influence peddling related to a lithium mine concession near Portugal's northern border with Spain, and plans for a green hydrogen plant and data centre at Sines on the south coast. Publico newspaper said at least 5 people have been detained, including the Chief of Staff of Prime Minister Antonio Costa, Vitor Escaria, and business consultant Diogo Lacerda Machado, who is a friend of Costa. Costa's office confirmed searches at Escaria's premises, but declined further comment. Machado is yet publicly to comment, and Reuters could not immediately reach him for comment. According to local media, investigators raided several government buildings on Tuesday, including the Premier's official residence, the Environment Ministry, and the Home of Infrastructure Minister, João Galamba. 62-year-old Costa, Portugal's socialist leader since 2015, asserted his innocence, but said in a nationally televised address that, in these circumstances, obviously, I have presented my resignation to the President of the Republic. Portuguese President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa quickly accepted Costa's resignation. He is expected to dissolve Parliament and call a new election. The President said in his statement that he is calling Parliament to convene on Wednesday, and he will speak to the nation after the Council of State gathers on Thursday. Costa was in tears while thanking his family for their support. An investigative judge has issued arrest warrants for Vitor Escaria, Costa's chief of staff, the mayor of the town of Sines, and 3 others because they represented a flight risk and to protect evidence, the prosecutor's office said in a statement. The judge is investigating alleged malfeasance, corruption of elected officials, and influence peddling related to lithium mine concessions near Portugal's northern border with Spain, and plans for a green hydrogen plant and data centre in Sines on the south coast. The police raids including the premises of the Ministry of the Environment, the Ministry of Infrastructure, Sines Town Council, private homes and offices. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.